Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today it's a very special day. Today we are celebrating 900 interviews on the show so far. Oh my God, that's very exciting. Thanks so much for being watching the show. Thanks so much for being supporting the show. And thank you very much as well for being part of the show. And to celebrate this special occasion, we are going to have Waly. Waly is from Paraguay, my first guest from Paraguay in the Magic Box. And he's a DJ and he lives in New York City in the USA. So let's see what Waly has to say. Enjoy the interview. So Waly, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited. I've seen a lot of the videos and it's very interesting. So I'm very excited.
Thank you so much. And how's your day been so far today?
It's been good. I am getting ready for some gigs. Working, I work as a DJ. I'm working tonight at a club, and then I have another one on Sunday. And then I'm going to Mexico for a Cinco de Mayo party next weekend.
Wow.
So, yeah. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, good. Here in London, it's evening now, and it's Buck holiday on Monday, so it's a long weekend. Everyone's happy.
All right. Okay. What's the holiday on Monday? Do you know?
On Monday, it's twice. In May we have two Buck holidays. We have the beginning of May, and in the end of May. It's like it's not summer, but it's something connected with the start of something with the season of the year, but I'm not sure exactly. But actually, this month we're gonna have three Buck holidays in May.
Wow.
Because the following Monday is the coronation, King's Charles coronation.
Oh,
So
I got
yeah,
it.
so it's going to be two Buck holidays in a row. So everyone is cheering up.
It's gonna be the same one weekend and then the following as well.
Yes. So usually we have the first weekend of May and the last one, but because of the coronation, it's gonna be Buck holiday as well. It's funny because today I was walking central London and the flags they are already putting on the street, so it's already getting ready for the next weekend, next Monday. So it's going to be a remarkable day. It's going to be something very interesting to remember for sure.
We like holidays as well, you know. Yeah, we like
So,
holidays.
Wally, as you already said about your career as a DJ, so tell me how everything started.
So, oh wow, it's to go back to the start is always kind of like complicated because I will say that I've been always just in love with music. I'm the youngest of three brothers. My older brother and all my brothers and my family itself, my dad as well, they were all music lovers. They always like music. I'm originally from Paraguay, Asunción-Paraguay. So I was very, in a way, the DJ industry itself at that time. It was not a thing that you can actually work or do as a living thing. So I went to film school, and then I moved to New York, where I was also doing some masters for filmmaking. And then, in a way, something just led to the other. I was doing filmmaking in New York, and then I started doing an internship for a company that produces documentaries. And in that department, I end up doing editing sounds for documentaries. And then I kind of like went back to my previous passion, which was music. So I was able to play and work with different softwares of music. And I did filmmaking and work in that industry for a little bit. And then I realized that, in the end, I was always go back to the sound, music for movies or just music in general. And I start kind of like building my own thing with DJing as well afterwards.
Amazing. So you're originally from Paraguay,
Yes, sir, I am.
and how long have you been living in New York City for?
I've been living here for over 10 years already. Yeah.
I
I
see.
live
But all your family are back in Paraguay.
I have my older brother lives in New York as well. And then pretty much all my family after that lives in Paraguay. Yes.
I have two fun facts to share with you.
To what?
Fun facts to share
Okay.
with you. The first one is, in a few days, I'm going to reach 900 interviews on the show so far with like people all over the planet. Yeah.
Wow.
But you are my first guest from Paraguay.
You know what? It's such a like a thing with meeting people, especially here in New York, that everybody's from everywhere. Every time I meet somebody, they're always says, "Oh, you're first person from Paraguay that I meet." It's just very random, and at this point, I'm already used to it. But it's very kind of like common not meeting somebody or not to know somebody from Paraguay, I guess.
And in London as well. In London, you meet a lot of people from different parts. Most of European you meet here in London. And the second fun fact is my grandma. I'm originally from Brazil, yeah, originally from Brazil, but my grandmother is from Paraguay.
Oh wow, really?
Yes, my grandmother is from Paraguay.
Which part in Brazil you're from?
It's a state called Mato Grosso, northwest of Brazil. It's
Okay, yeah. I've been to Mato Grosso, yeah.
Have you?
Of course, yeah. It's not very far from Paraguay, so
Of course.
it's a very a short trip in a way to go to Mato Grosso and other places near Paraguay. Yeah.
Of course, my grandmother, she moved to Brazil when she was, I think, 12 years old. She moved to Brazil and she never got back to Paraguay. And another fun fact is, I remember growing up because she looked like, like Hispanic. Yeah, her eyes was like, she had this beautiful long hair, like straight, like black hair, beautiful. And I remember sometime when she was coming to visit us, my family and my colleagues, my neighbors, they were like, "William, your grandmother looks so different." Like, but because I knew her, for me, I couldn't see because she was my grandmother. But now when I look back, she looked different. Yeah, she looked like different that people got too used to. And I was like, okay, now I understand what they meant at the time.
Where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's amazing.
And I know that you're from Brazil. I can see. I mean, I can understand that you might have an accent, but again, living here in New York, there's people from so many places that I always get curious about the stories of people around in general. It's like me when people ask me how you end up in New York and how you end up DJing or working with art in general, and there's always like a journey behind, like everybody else.
Absolutely. So yeah, I left Brazil when I was 19 years old. I moved to Portugal. I was in Portugal for almost 5 years, and I've been living in England, in London, for the last 18 years now. Yes, it's been a long time. It's been a long journey, beautiful journey.
Beautiful journey. That's the main part. If it was beautiful.
Absolutely. Okay, Waly, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend, okay? The fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Perfect. Okay, guys.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So right, before we start the game, Waly, through the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Perfect, no problem.
First question for you is, tell me what did they do that comforts you the most?
I will say, obviously it's a memory from when I was like a kid. For some reason, I think like I have like a very good memories of my mom and my dad taking me to school. And at the beginning was a school not far away from my house. We will walk to the school. And I think now I understand, but at that moment, the conversation that we had was kind of like coaching a little bit of, how are things in just life in general, like, what you will learn or what you have to do, and kind of like giving me some directions of not only how to get from one place to another, also how to navigate school in general. And I think like I use that subconsciously, that message that I got from them when I was a kid and even until now.
Amazing. And you said you just have one brother, or you have other siblings as well?
I have 3 brothers. I'm the youngest.
Oh, yes. One. Yes, you said 3. So one is in New York with you, and the other one is back in Paraguay.
Correct. Yes.
I see. And why New York City? Why the change from Paraguay to New York? How the idea came along?
So it kind of like just fell, in place in a way. My oldest brother, he works for UN, so he was transferred from Paraguay to New York, and I visited him a couple times, and then one of the visits, I was like trying to see what I'll be able to do after I finish the university, and I got some workshops and some studies here for filmmaking. So I went to an art conservatory for like a season here, and then but my plan was never to stay in New York. My plan was just to come here, study, and then go back to Paraguay. Because by the time that I left Paraguay, I have kind of like my life built in a way. I was working, I was being doing my own art there, so I was kind of not very interested in staying in New York. And also, when I go to New York, I didn't like New York at all. I do not like it at all. It's a beautiful city and always been a beautiful city, but I feel like it was not the idea that I had in mind. And finally, when I was able to, or when I finally decided to go back to Paraguay, I got this offer to do an internship for this production company where I would start working with documentaries. And then I said, okay, maybe I can stay here until this finish, and then I'll go. And it's been like that since that time. Like I'll always find a project, or now I'm already working and living here, but for a good time of the year was my plan was to go back to New York, to Paraguay from New York, and then I just never did.
I
Went
see.
back obviously a couple of times, but like to leave back, I haven't though.
I see. Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what made you laugh this week or this month? Something very funny.
Um uh Wow, it's very difficult to think about that at this point because I have a very weird week in a way. Yeah, very weird because it's been like exactly a week where I'm pretty sure you have the same thing, like when one thing after the other just like now works. Like I have a problem with my computer, I have a problem at work at some point. I've been having small problems with audio, the same one that we have at the beginning. And if for work, I use, obviously my equipment is from my computer and other sign equipments, and I've been having like a weird week with that. But I have a good time on a birthday on last Friday.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it was a rooftop party, and my friends were there, and it was a very very interesting night because I was able to spend time with some of my friends, and especially working in nightlife. I don't have the time to, or when my friends are having birthdays or other stuff, I'm always working, and so yeah, I have a lot of laugh on that.
Amazing. Very good. Next one. Let's do it. So before the next question, Wally, tell me, as you're saying that no working during the night because of your job as a DJ, what do you like the most about DJing? Tell me what's the biggest joy of it, and the flip side, what's something that you find very challenging?
So I, believe it or not, it's something when I talk to people about this, they're very confused about it. But like I'm a very shy person in a way of integrating with large big group of people in general. And I play a lot of in different bars and clubs here in New York, but the main industry that I'm working on as a DJ is after hours and sex parties in a way. So it's very the best part of this is when you are DJing and you are connecting with people through music without not participating in any of the acts in general. Like even if it's like a big club or whatever, you can see the people having fun. And you have the headphones on and you prepare this music in advance. You know what you're doing. You're like vibing and partying with them. But you kind of like, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but you guide the people through, the course of a journey for hours, and that's very fulfilling. In a way, I felt like having a lot of power in that moment through the speakers and through the music that I'm playing, it's one of the most satisfying things that which is that very addictive at the same time. And that's kind of like what I pursued every DJ gig that I have. I will say the downside of this is obviously working in nightlife is dangerous. You have a lot of different invitations to, not just good things in general. So staying healthy and staying focused is very important, but it's also very difficult at the same time. And but in the end, after a while, you also learn how to navigate this. I still think that it's very uncomfortable to go back to my place and try to go to bed, and when it's like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. That's a downside for me. It's sleeping during the day. I'm already used to it, but still is one of the most difficult things for me in general.
And most, as you said, you play do you play most of the club's LGBTQ parties?
I'm doing yes, in New York I work at a gay bar, and I'm doing a lot of parties for promoters that are obviously a big part of the community of the LGBTQ plus here in New York. But it's not exclusive what I do. I also play a lot of parties that are not necessarily for the gay community.
I see. Okay. Next question for you is, what is the worst advice have you ever given?
Oh, I am not good giving advice, because I'm like at that moment. Well, I mean, I always think that what I'm saying is not necessarily something that you should do. I can say, hey, Will, you know what? If I were you, I will do this. I have a very particular mind in how I see things, and for me, some stuff are just like normal, and yeah, that's the way it is. But I'm known with among my friends of not being the best person giving advice. Uh, but and I've told friends like, yeah, just leave this person in a relationship, and and that was not necessarily a good advice eventually for different reasons. I also gave a lot of bad advices to a lot of my friends where I'm like, yeah, quit your job, quit your job and travel. If you really want to do that, do it. Because I've done it. I've quit my job from Paraguay, and I quit my job. I also live in France for a little bit. When I was living there, I quit what I was doing there because I wanted to keep travel. But as I said, I have a different vision of how to navigate life in general. And for me, I will always find a way to just get away with it. But not everybody has that skill, I will say. And then I'll come, my friend will come back like broke with no job. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? And I'm like, get to another trip and go somewhere else, like that works for me as well. So why not?
It comes from a good place, understand
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. It's never like, and also I don't overthink stuff like a lot. So in a moment, I'm very practical and I say, yeah, this is the best thing. And then it's not. I travel a lot also. For example, I go to Montreal a lot with one of my very good friends. I also work and play a lot of places there. And, it's like, turn here. We usually will drive from New York to Montreal. I know we're supposed to go to the other way, or I think we should go this way, or it would be better if you take this exit, and then it's not necessarily the way it works. But yeah, I'm not good with advices.
It's interesting saying that because I'm exactly the same. When friends come up to me and said, William, should I do that? Yes, go for it. If you feel like, go for it. I have that as well. I have that. Sometimes I watch myself. I go like, I should have said, yes, do it. But after I go like, wait a minute. But, think about the consequence, this and that. Right. But the first thing I go like, yes, if you feel like, if your intuition is saying, follow it, do it. But without thinking, you know what I mean? Sometimes you need to, but as I said, it comes from a good place. You just want to see your friends taking
I would say the best thing is always say, if I was you, what I will do. So you kind of like put yourself as a character, and then, is the other person's responsibility to actually take your advice. So don't take my advice. I always say people, I'm like, I don't know how to get to places. So might not work. My formula might not work for you. So yeah.
Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Waly from Paraguay. Next question is, what is a good age to start dating and why?
A good age to start dating. Um, I think okay, again, I will say what I think is the most like appropriate, but I'll tell
Look,
you what I did. Yeah.
look that
Um,
device, that
yeah,
device.
I think that the good day to start dating people it's in between 18 and 20 years old. So because you're already not a teenager, you kind of have some knowledge, and you have also, you know, a big gap of time to screw it up a couple times and make some mistakes, and you know, so I would say like not super young, but at the same time, not to wait a long time. I think I started dating after when I was 20, almost 25. My first boyfriend was when I was 20 something. And I was mature, but at the same time, my dating knowledge was not on point, and I screwed up a couple times. And then consequently, with the following person was the same. So I kind of like my I don't have a lot of knowledge of dating because I think I started kind of like late. At the beginning, I was very focusing in studying and doing my own thing. I was hanging around with people, obviously, but seriously having a date or dating somebody, I didn't do it until pretty late. So I would say between 18 and 20, 21.
I like that advice. You see,
What time you start dating?
good. Actually, you're saying that I was working out in my head here when I started dating. My first boyfriend I was 20 and he was 29, and I would say that was my, let's say, real like dating. Before that, I left Brazil. I was young, I wasn't dating. I started my, let's say, sex life and my, you know, dating life when I arrived in Portugal. Like I was 19. That's where I kind of start. But I've always been so busy with my life overall that
Right.
dating for me always being something that's as a second place. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not like that. I kind of settled that, but like I realized that. You know what I mean? That's I'm Scorpio. Scorpio, we are very independent. You know, Scorpio, we isolate ourselves from the world. Like if someone comes along, good.
Good.
If someone not coming, good as well. So we have this
Yeah,
way.
I got it. I think I'm the same. I'm not Scorpio, but I think I'm the same type of, you know, personality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's and I've always been like that. I've always been. Nowadays, older, being older, that at the time I go now, I watch myself sometimes to put myself out. You need to be, you know, you need to be exposed. You need to be out. You need to be interact with people somehow. But I
Right.
still have that to be on my own space, to have my own. You know, I it's the way I see. Question for you is: how is, in your opinion, in your experience, dating in New York City? How do you find?
Oh my God. Here we go. This is the question. This is the question, and this is one of the most I don't want to say common question in New York, but it's one of the most things that people talk about in general. And I will obviously talk about the gay life in New York because obviously I don't have like a lot of experience with dating in the normal standards in New York, but it's very, very, very difficult. In my experience and for my knowledge, it's very
Mhm.
difficult because there is so many things going on at the same time. New York is very tough. Like you have to be on point. You have to go and do a lot of stuff. You have to work, especially if you're an artist. Like you have to hustle and you work doing one thing one day, the other day you're doing something else, and you might not have time to meet people in general. And I think it's the same thing for other people. Like nobody has really, you know, enough time to go and spend time with somebody else. So it's very popular. You just have like dating apps where you go and you have sex with somebody, and you not necessarily need to connect, and you're not necessarily looking for move forward with that person in any kind of context. So in that, you know, type of situation, you will find people that wants to date when you don't want to date, and then you want to date somebody else, but this person is dating somebody else. And there is also so many people that you have so many things going on at the same time that is very difficult. I was very lucky. Like I'm in a relationship right now, and that, you know, just starting very randomly or casually after a little bit after lockdown in COVID. I have a previous relationship before that, that it was a long one, and those are the only relationships that I have had in New York so far. And it's a struggle because when you're single, or when I was single in a period of time, and I was not necessarily looking for somebody, and a lot of different type of people, and you will think, wow, everybody's crazy. Like there is a moment when you're like, what's going on? Because it's a lot of personalities, a lot of different type of people. And I'm not saying this is the same situation for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say even with my girlfriends or some other people that I know, is the same. Like New York is very tough with timing in general, and I don't think people has time to actually connect with other people. And again, I was very lucky to be able to take the next step with some of them at some point, but it's very tough.
Yeah, I live in London and I exactly know what you mean. Exactly know. I think big cities, it's always, I mean, it's not right or wrong. It's just the reality. Yeah, it's just the reality around. I think people, including ourselves, myself, we are looking for maybe adventures or maybe something that it might fill up the moment, or, we feel like, okay, it can be anything, but I understand it's not easy.
But there is also, like, I think, like, when that happens and then you see somebody, one person among all this craziness, and you connect with with that person,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
already know, because there's so many other things going on that you're like,
totally,
okay, that person is like, a
totally.
good indicator to just keep going towards that direction. So,
Absolutely. I
and
totally.
I've been on both sides. Like, I've been on the
Yeah.
side when I'm like, kind of like being scared of what's going on around me, and also I've been part of the other side when I was one of the crazy people out there doing
Hmm.
crazy shit. It sounds so bad when I say this. It's not that crazy,
I mean, it's
but
just
you understand. It's just
having
like,
fun,
you're out
having
there
fun.
doing your own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, having fun. You are enjoying the moment. You're enjoying, the atmosphere around, and I understand that.
Right.
Next question. Let's do it. Next question is: who has been the most influential person in your life and why?
Um. Wow. I never been asked something like this before. Uh, I will say, well, somebody that influenced, well, my life at some point, and even until now, is being my dad. Yeah, my dad was like a very quiet person, very independent, very I don't want to say strange, but just very different in a way. But somehow he was able to teach me a lot of things that, as I said before, even until now, it keeps in my memory. And I think that even now, before I will make any decision, I'm thinking about what will he think about this? Or yeah, I would say in that part, personality wise, we're also very similar. So I think it was definitely a big influence. And then obviously I have other artists in general that
Of
influence my
course.
career, which is something different. But in my personal life, I would say my dad, that represents my family. The same thing with my brothers and my mom.
Is your dad the person that you are more close to in your family?
My dad,
Yeah.
no.
Who is?
I would say, well, my dad passed away a couple years ago, but even when he was alive, we were not super close.
Okay.
However, he's the person who I have the most influence in a way.
Sure.
But I would say my older brother. Yeah, I mean, just not because only because I mean he lives in New York, so we have a lot of things in common about just living here. But I'm very close to all of my family. It's kind of unfair to choose one person. I'm very close to my mom and to my older brothers. But I communicate a lot with my older brother, which in a way is kind of like my dad here in New York. So I would say my older brother.
Very good. Ready for another one?
Yes, sure.
Let's do it. Next question. Before the next question, as you are my first guest from Paraguay, tell me what Paraguay stands out compared with other, let's say, countries in South America? What's the postcard of Paraguay? What do you feel like, for example, people going to Paraguay for the very first time? What is a must? What is the postcard of Paraguay?
There are different things. Oh God, Paraguay is beautiful. I love Paraguay. It's like, I mean, not only because I'm from there, I feel like even now that I'm not there, I can see so many things that I miss a lot from Paraguay. And the country itself is the most important quality from the country, which is the people, is the hospitality. Like Paraguayans are very, very just in a way not quiet, but just very nice and polite people in general. They're everything is like in a slow motion in a way of like if you want to meet somebody, they immediately will like you. They immediately will want you to have fun. Immediately want you to meet their parents and be friends and let's go out. It's like a very, very open culture, and there's a tons of beautiful places, especially in Asunción. You know, there's like different museums, different places where you can go. But in the end, I think like if you're visiting Paraguay, the best thing would be to just, if you have the chance to communicate in the same language or another language as well, just to meet a Paraguayan and see how different that culture wise and personality wise the people from my country could be.
You have no idea how happy I am right now to have someone from Paraguay. My grandmother, literally, she passed away, and we were so close. She was, oh my goodness, we were so connected somehow. And I remember sit down with her, and she telling me so many stories about her, her childhood and, being Paraguay. And oh my God, you have no idea how amazing to have someone unexpected. I was expecting you to be from Paraguay. Amazing.
Life sometimes is unexpected. I think like you never know who you're gonna meet in general.
Totally.
And I will never expect that you have parents or that your grandmother is actually from my country. So
yeah. Oh, we meant to have this interview today.
we must have. Yes, exactly.
Next question is, what is your favorite place in the entire world and why?
Well, obviously Paraguay, I will say, is one of my favorite places. But I guess, you always, not everybody, but in a way, everybody will go back to their own roots and say my own country. But uh, I really like Montreal, and I really like Paris as well. I go for work a lot in Montreal, in Canada, and I play a lot there as well. And at this point, I think I can just say this because of the way I connect with people through my music when I'm DJing in Montreal, or the same thing when I was in France. It's a completely different story, like how fun can people be, and how different is the culture itself, especially Montreal. So I love this city. I love Montreal. I love New York as well, obviously. But if I have to choose somewhere where I haven't necessarily come from or live at the moment, I will say Canada.
Okay, I'm gonna share another coincidence between you and me.
You like Canada? You like Montreal? Yeah.
My best friend, he's French, but he lives in Montreal, in Canada. Yeah, and his son, my godson, 3 years old, my godson is Montreal. I've been Montreal 3 times. They've been actually 10 years there, and they've been 3 times. I was last year actually for Christmas. I spent in Montreal last year for Christmas, and I'm going sometime this year again, of course, to see my godson. So I might see you. Hopefully, you are playing some time there or the same time.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm in between New York and Montreal. I have like a big gig for Pride, which is in August. I have to go for work before that as well in late July, probably. Actually, I also have to go after I'm come back from Mexico. I'm going to Canada again. So I just love the place, and
yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful because in the industry that I work over there, it could be super dark in a way that I can play techno, I can play after hours music. I know where exactly where to do that. And at the same time, I can play disco and I can play house music in another venue, in another place. So it works in both ways. And the people are just amazing. So
We need
I
to
guess
meet up in we need to meet up there. We need to find a way to meet up in Montreal.
absolutely, I'll be fine.
Next question, Wally. Let's do it. Next question is, what does happiness mean to you?
Happiness is for me good times and good memories with my loved ones. Happiness is to spend time with my friends and my family. And happiness is to know at that moment that you're creating a memory that will make you happy at some point.
Do you believe that happiness is a choice?
Yes.
Why is that?
It could give, this could be a very stupid example because obviously there's so many big problems and many other things in the world that are necessarily more catastrophic right now. But just for an example, as we talked a little bit before the interview, I have like a very, very bad week in a way, like in different problems from, not problems, but different, things from work,
Challenge. Yeah, challenge.
go to very challenging.
Yeah.
And at some point I was like, I felt like I was do you know the meme of the dog that is like sipping coffee or in a mug and everything's on fire around him?
I
And
haven't seen it.
says, I'm fine. I feel like I have like a very bad vibe this week, and I was still thinking like, well, I'm healthy right now and I can still make this thing happen, and there's many other days and weeks to come. So I choose right now maybe not to worry, or I choose to just take some time and be happy with the small things that was actually going right. Again, there's people that are going through major things right now, and it's very difficult to say, oh, I'm just switching my SIM card, I'm going to be happy right now. But I think it's very good to just to keep it positive and being optimistic, and just chill, don't lose your cool. And I think all these things are also kind of things from people from my country, I guess, people from Paraguay. I think we think like that. It's like, doesn't matter, we're all good, chill, like it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. So that actually works for me in different areas.
Yes, I believe that when we are facing challenging times, sad times, that's it's a very powerful place to be, because that's where you learn lessons, that's where you grow as a person. That's where, because when you are happy, you don't, you're just happy, you just enjoy the moment. But when you are going through something challenging, that's where you learn lessons. You look back, you don't see at the time when you are facing, but in the future, when you look back, you go like, okay, now I understand why I went through that situation. So it counts. It counts. Everything counts. And the good part is it will pass one point. So that's the good part.
And then again, it sounds very cliche, but everything happens for a reason. There's a moment when you are like, wow, I cannot, move forward, or maybe you're just in the right place, or maybe you don't need to necessarily, take other direction from where you are right now. And again, like I left Paraguay when I was very young, and I live in different places. I had the chance to go to beautiful places, and in my journey in that, in all that, I've learned that different times I was in the right place, but at that moment I thought that it was not the right place to be. But now I can say, wow, that actually was what I needed to be. So yeah. And again, if people are going through a lot of stuff, and if they think that just happiness is not an option at that moment, it's good to also open up and talk to people and say, hey, I am not seeing happiness as an option right now, and see what the other person have to say about it. Because sometimes the mind could be very chaotic, and if you keep it to yourself, end up not being the best formula. So also I would say the key of happiness is to look for it and say, hey, I want to be better, or I want to feel happier. And people in general could help with that.
Totally. And asking for help, it's a very big sign of being strong. Yeah, so that, yeah, that's don't feel, if you are vulnerable for some reason, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be sad, to be weak, or to be, you know, in a place that you're not feeling very happy, but it will pass and you're gonna get better. That's what I believe.
You're cool. Exactly. Yeah.
3 questions left for you. Let's do it. Next question is that a dream you always had?
If there is a dream that I always
Had,
had
yeah.
and that I haven't accomplished yet, or
Yeah, what dream that you always, yeah, you always had, or maybe you already accomplished anything?
uh yeah, I mean, it will sound kind of, well, I don't know how it's gonna sound, but like when I was very young, and I remember being 12 or 13 years old, and I was pretty much in love with music, as I said before, my whole life. I always wanted to, I didn't know at that point it's going to be a DJ, but I always wanted to be able to work and express my own persona through art and music. And it's not only something that I'm doing it currently, it's also part of my job. So I can say that I feel very fulfilled of being able to do what I love. And it was also my dream to, at some point, going to places and for work and meet different people, even like we are doing right now. So yeah, it was always my dream to be that type of person, and I guess I am become one of them. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, you are living a dream, literally.
Yes, yes. It's a very interesting dream, but yes, it is.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next one, actually, do you, being from Paraguay, do you know Xuxa?
Of course, I know Shusha. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of
absolutely.
Xuxa. I'm a big
How
fan.
how fabulous was that woman doing everything what she was doing with high heels, the boots, the kids, and the
Oh my
whole
God.
thing. Yeah. What happened to Shusha, by the way? What's going on?
Actually, she just turned 60 nowadays. She's still beautiful, and she's doing now, you know, the drug race, the RuPaul's
Yes.
drug.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
doing the same program in Brazil, and it's being like something big. Yeah, she's doing now. Yeah, I don't know if you follow her Instagram. Go to her Instagram, and you're gonna see a lot of things she's posting now. It's amazing. I mean, she's still the Shusha that we always knew, that we grew up with.
Right.
Of course, not, you know, she's not like as she was before, but she's still like breaking barriers. She's still, you know, she's Shusha anyway. I'm
Ah,
talking about.
what a thing. What a memory. I don't remember when was the last time I thought about her, or, it's such a thing, part of, my childhood of,
Yeah,
seeing Shusha on TV doing their own thing with other kids. Yeah,
Hilari, Hilari, yeah. Oh,
exactly.
oh,
Yeah.
talking about your childhood, tell me how was growing up as a gay boy back in Paraguay.
This is something that I've already been asked, and I will say that for me was uh obviously there was moments where it was not easy. Just, you are growing up, you're a kid in a very conservative and also religious country, like is Paraguay, or it was at that time, at the moment. But I had it easy. I had it easy in a way of, I was always surrounded of good people, and like at school I never had any problem with anybody about that. I think uh, I've always worked with art, and I've been always artistic. So I think I was always weird in a way. And I don't think it was, people will think like, oh, he's weird or he's crazy, not because he's gay, it's just because he just thinks different, or he's just like doing things in a different way. And I've always also thought that I always felt like different, but I kind of liked it in a way. I never wanted to be like every other else, and I never wanted to pretending something, because I felt like I was just myself. Even being gay and having so many people, like, in the gay community, I people still say like, wow, it's not about you being gay, the thing is like there's something else. And I don't have a coming out story. I think like I was either always out or I was just always myself. And I think I always like people and they always like me back. And so I never had any inconvenience. I have a very happy childhood. I was very happy being a teenager. However, that was my case, but that was not the same case of a lot of other friends when we were younger. A lot of other friends that they have to leave their house because their parents were not, accepting his choices. And a lot of them, they made a lot of big mistakes in during their life because they felt very lost. You live in a community, and even right now Paraguay might not be the most safe place for a gay person. However, it's getting bigger, and obviously it changed a lot since the last time I was there. But I was very lucky and blessed that I have no problems in being myself. I think I have more problem people understanding me in a creative way. I have more problem. It was more challenging for me to express myself through art and to people understand what I was trying to say
Mhm.
than me accepting my sexuality and people understanding the same thing.
I see.
How
Okay.
was your story in Brazil?
I think for me, I was very lucky because again, I left Brazil. I was very young. I was 19 as well. So for me, I never came out back in Brazil, but my parents never kind of stopped me about like living a life or anything. We never talked about not just about sexuality, but about those taboos topics like sex or religion, or those things that maybe was a taboo. So I must say as well, I was very lucky. I never had, of course, I was bullied. I had situations that, made me feel sad. But I personally, for me, I can say as well that I never had, as heard so many, stories of people that they had like, tragic moments
Right, yeah.
regarding that. But I must say as well that for me, I was very happy person. I was very happy. I was happy with being around with friends, with people. So that's, I think, somehow comforted me as well. So I was kind of, I knew that something was there, but I kind of, because I was very happy and I was around my friends, I was focused in other things as well. Somehow helps me to kind of put on the side this situation about being bullied or negativity. That I would say.
Got it.
Right. Next question is: if you could live anywhere in the world, where that would be and why?
Um, I would say I will love to live in, I want to say Montreal again,
Mhm.
but I'm in a way kind of like not leaving, but I have a lot of back and forth from here there. So if it was not there, um, I think that I like cities that are very cosmopolitan in a way of being big cities. Like I would say Berlin
Mhm.
or Paris. But the place where I was always very curious is Oslo in Norway.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. I've watched so many films, and I've at some point I worked in a company that we produced film festivals, and we had a lot of films that were coming from Norway, and I had a lot of knowledge of not maybe culture wise, but I've seen a lot of movies, and I was always thinking, wow, I would love to live there. But again, I think going back to what part of our conversation was, I live in New York and I love New York. Is I can say that now. When I just moved, I was like, "What is this? It's not what I think." But this place is. I think I have my right tribe. I'm in the right place. I know the right people, and the city is just crazy. And I think that I love that. I truly think that I belong in a place like this. It's not necessarily, it is beautiful, but it's not necessarily, pink and amazing all the time. It has its dark side as well that I really like. And I really like also the other part. And it's a place where I think a lot of people are in a way you either hate it or you love it. And I had both feelings, separately in different times, but now it's a definitely a place where I'm very happy to live.
Amazing. Ready for the last question?
I am ready for the next question. Yes.
Let's do it. Let's one. But before the last question, tell me a moment of one of your gigs that you had that you're gonna go like, you know what, that gig I'll never forget. You know what I mean? Something that happened one of when you're DJing that you go like, that was one of the best nights I ever had.
Yes, I will always remember. I've I've been DJing for pretty much my whole life. But it was always something that I was not doing on a side, but I was not necessarily putting all my attention to it because I was always working different projects, and different type of jobs and different other things. But I've been always DJing. I started DJing, putting more attention to my art after COVID or during COVID. It was a moment when everything stopped, and of course, I stopped myself and also started thinking what I would really love to do. And I was, I'm in my apartment in my loft in here in the city, and I was just like playing music, and it was something very comforting and just to do my own thing. So I will say the first summer after the lockdown, when places started to like open again, I had a gig in Fire Island. I'm not sure if you heard about Fire Island before. I'm not sure if you've been there. Have you been to New York? Sorry if I didn't ask this before. Have you
I've
been to?
been I've been to New York. It was a dream as a teenager, and I've been with my best friend from Montreal. He was working in a bank at the time, and he was um, 2 weeks or 1 week in New York City, and I went there for a long weekend. So it was the best time of my life.
So the best time, the first time that you were in New York, you already went to Fire Island.
No, I never been to Fire Island. I've been to New York City, but I heard the place. I heard the place already. I had a guest from New York who did the magic box in there. He was there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you almost catch me there. I was supposed to be there today. Just I'm setting up for a party for June, and I was supposed to go, but then anyway, ended up going. So I had this gig and one of my first gig after COVID, and it was kind of like a big one was in Fire Island. Fire Island is an island not very far away from Manhattan, where it's like a gay destination. It's a big island, and all the people goes there, and there's a lot of parties, and it's a very cool place. And they hired me to play for an after hour, which is there was a big weekend of a big different parties during Thursday until Sunday. And then I have one of the last gigs, which was like on a Monday morning at 6 a.m., I think. And I went there, I checked the place, and it was a huge mansion. And the DJ booth was like facing the mansion, and everything was like big windows. And I felt very intimidating because, first of all, it was bigger than I was expecting. And also, this was, it was not necessarily because when I say that I DJ for sex parties, people think like, oh, it's a huge, massive mess. And it's like, it's a place where you go and people are pretty much doing their own thing, right? To put it in a way. And I don't consider myself, I enjoy sex. I don't consider myself a very sexual person in a way of having a drive for sex, but for some reason, I've always played for after hours. And this is where a lot of the sex activities happen, right? And I was playing for this place. It was sunrise. It was a beautiful night and turned into a day. And I was DJing, and I could see, I don't know, like 400 men, like in a way, doing their own thing that I could see them from my DJ booth. And I knew because I did the wiring of the sound for that house, and my music was from the basement to the bathroom to the main pool to all these places. And it's very weird to explain that. And this is something that happened to me that time, and it's been repeatedly in any other parties like this. You are not participating in sexual activities at that moment because obviously I'm playing music, but you can feel the sexual tension, you can feel the sexual energy. And as a human being, just being part of something like that, I felt that I was not only lucky, I was also honored to be in a big part like that, especially knowing that it was like after COVID, and it was like a moment where a lot of people were started to partying again. And it was a great memory.
Amazing. Very good. Last question for you is, what is your most embarrassing moment?
I mean, obviously, I have so many embarrassing moments. Like from kid until like I'm a person that I'm always making fool of myself in any situation. But I think was in another party like this where when I did not have for some reason the sound ready, and it took me a very long time to put the sound. I mean, the music was playing, but then it stopped playing for, I will say, 5 or 7 minutes. And that's a moment. If it's 1 minute or 3 minutes, people are kind of like okay with it. But at that moment, I felt like everybody was looking at me and trying to wait for my to solve this situation. And I've maybe it was not super embarrassing, but for me it was a lot to handle because when people see you DJing somewhere and you are killing it, it's a different type of look that you get when you are not killing it. And that happened that happened to me more than once, unfortunately. And I will feel like I having people looking at me in that way, it's something that I've never experienced before. So I would
It
say
was it was the universe testing you to see how you deal with the situation.
exactly. And believe it or not, at that moment, you just have to chill and say, okay,
Yeah,
I make
it's
this
happening.
happen,
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
with technology, when you're having so many speakers, so many softwares and things involved in general, it's a very complicated task to just keep your cool while you're going through something like this.
Absolutely. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
Okay.
One word for family.
Love.
Money.
Mess.
One word for love.
Sex.
Life.
Love.
One word for sex.
Serotonin.
Politics.
Lies.
Religion.
More lies.
Friendship.
Memories.
Desire.
Lust.
Regrets.
Time.
I said success, yeah? You said time.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Wish.
Travel.
Happiness.
Family.
One word for, you said you lived in Paris before as well, yeah?
Right, yes.
So one word for Paris.
I don't want to say it, but it's snob. Yeah.
One word for New York City.
Filthy. The good one. The good filthy.
One word for Paraguay.
Good memories. Well, memories. If it's
Okay.
only one.
Okay. And the last one now, DJ, one word.
Passion.
Actually, one more, music.
I would say live.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the first thing. I don't know. I've been involved with music my whole life, and music is all the time, all the time. Very
Let's
nice.
pretend now I'm going to meet your boyfriend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your boyfriend, what is the most beautiful thing about Waly, and what's something that he still needs to work on to improve on? What he would say.
Wait, hold on. This is something you're asking me about him?
No, the opposite. If I would ask him about you, something, I'm having a coffee with him, and
So I have to pretend that I'm him.
No, 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 no. I'm having a coffee with your boyfriend right now, and I'm gonna go like, wow, tell me something interesting about the most beautiful thing in your opinion about Wally, in his eyes, yeah, and something that he still needs to work on to improve on. What he would say?
I think he will say that I I've wow, I don't know how he thinks. I mean, I think I know how he thinks, but I think he will say that um that I'm very that I care about not only him, people in general. Like I always want people to have fun around me. It doesn't matter the context. Like I think it's just they just vibe and see what happens, you know. So I would say that he might say that probably because he's repeatedly at some point said that at some point that I'm that type of person. And I think that that he will say that I need to improve with um communication sometimes, but not
Interesting.
yeah, but the interesting thing is like I don't think I have problem communicating with him in general. It's just with other people that sometimes I have to think and say to myself, or that's something that he said, or I'm thinking he will say is like that the other person might not understand or not might follow the story or might not think that that's funny or kind of like like top a notch a little bit, just keep it cool, not don't go that intense with every single person that you meet because some people are just kind of like to have just a regular flat conversation. So
Amazing. Let's play now Wally and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before you ask me the question, tell me if you could have anyone in the world to see your gig, anyone that you could choose to be in a room that you are playing, which person that would be? Just one person that you go like, I wish this person would be in my room someday, or just enjoy my gig, my music.
I would say my mom.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately she saw me playing before, like different small events at some
Yeah,
point when I was, but I don't think she never understood, and I don't think she understand until now what exactly I'm doing for work. And I think she knows obviously. Like I showed her videos and stuff, but I don't think she fully knowledge what it takes and what's the art. And I think if I want somebody to see me, maybe not a sex party for sure, but like another party, I will say my mom, even if it's there, just like so she can
yeah,
understand what they are. Yeah, I will definitely bring her. If she was living in the same city, I would take her some of my gigs so she can see what it is.
that's a beautiful answer. Amazing,
Yeah.
beautiful. Right, you can ask me a question now.
So I was thinking, and this is a conversation that I have with a friend recently, and it's kind of like not a silly question, but it's a question that people might, or maybe you already have you've been asked. But if you have like a superpower, like an X-Men or like a superpower from one of these things, what would you have and why? Which one would you choose?
Okay, right. I'm gonna give two answers. Yeah, I'm gonna give two answers on that. The first answer is if I had the superpower of going around the world and touching, those closed-minded people that they are closed-minded, don't wanna see the other side.
Yeah.
They just believe what they see, what they believe. If I could go around the world, touching their heads, just everyone, and for them to open their minds, you know what I mean? I think that would be something that I would love to do. To go around the world, like just touching their minds for them to
Well,
open
you
their
will have
minds.
to touch a lot of people. Let's put it that way.
It
It's
would be
gonna
a
be
hard work. That's why I
very,
like to go
very,
around the
very,
world
yeah.
doing that. And the other superpower, I would, at the same time, when I'm traveling around the world to open people's minds, the same time as well, if I could speak every language in the world, like fluently, every language, oh my goodness, that will be something that's, yeah, I'd love
That's also very. I mean, communication itself is very interesting, but
yeah.
I think I will have. I would like to have one of those powers as well.
Of course, imagine. Of course, when you learn language, of course, you learn. You can communicate like we doing now. We English not our first language, and we can understand each other. We can
Right.
communicate and still live a life. But imagine going to other languages and other people. That's sometimes you can understand, but you don't speak like you don't understand the way they talk everything like other very difficult language. You know what I mean? So imagine having those power to understand everything and communicate and speak.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've had like an experience. One of my previous like people that I dated at some point, he was a guy from France. I was studying French at that moment,
Yeah.
and sometimes I mean, we were cool, but we were not very fluent. I was not fluent in French at that moment, and he was not fluent in Spanish. So there was a moment where I know exactly when
Yeah.
he would like looked at me, and I would have the same feeling like how I wish he could understand
Totally.
everything what I'm trying to just
Yeah.
to put it out there, you know. And
Absolutely. So
sometimes it's like very very interesting.
I would put two powers in one. I would go open people's mind, at the same time speak their language as well.
Right. Okay, that's a good superpower. I think I said when my friend asked me this, I think I said that I would like to have the power to stop time.
Good one as well. Oh my
Just
God, that would be good. That would be a good one
stop,
as
just you just stop time, right? You just stop time and that's it. And maybe if you stop time, you have the chance to learn a new language. And then you will take you, I don't know, whatever it takes you. But then when you go back to the same time, you already know this language, you know.
well. Amazing. Wally, did you enjoy the interview?
I enjoyed the interview. Thank you so much for having me today. And I'm very happy not only to be part of this, also to meet you. And for me, this was like very challenging because, as I said, I wouldn't just go and talk to somebody that I don't know, which is exactly
Hmm.
what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And also, as you said, that maybe my boyfriend will say if you're asking what I need to
Improve?
improve, it's just to keep it cool in a conversation and now go full frontal with everything that I might wanted to say. But I feel like I had the chance to express myself and also to just share my art in general and how this works. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Totally, totally. No, thank you so much. I'm the one who wants to say thank you because not just, we made memories right now, but it's a special for me because, as I said, you are my first guest from Paraguay, and it's something that I was expecting because when I was talking to you, that's the magic of the magic box. What I love the most. Sometimes I talk to people, and most of the time I don't know where they're from. And that's the most interesting part. And when I have those surprises, I get so excited and so happy. As I told you before, I'm very happy right now to know that. There is you made history now the magic box. You are the very first one. You left your signature here, the magic box. You're the first one from Paraguay.
As I show, you always, I think, like when you meet people in a way, you always have to like leave a mark if it's something.
Totally.
So I'm pretty sure this is the
And you
case.
left without knowing you already left. Now you know.
Right.
Now you
Without
know.
knowing, but now I know. Absolutely.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or something that you live by.
Mm, we I think we went through this a little bit earlier in the interview, but I will say there is so many things going on right now in not only in the world, just in the daily base with people in general, and it's very difficult to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. But I will say that right now, what we need to practice is the patience,
Mm-hmm.
just to be patient and think like things could change, just to be patient and think like you can improve, and just to be patient and think like actually things will get better. As we said before, there are so many people out there that they're like feeling in a certain way for whatever reason it is. And it's always good, again, to talk with people, communicate, and try to figure things out with other, and to keep it cool. Like things are like waves. Life is like waves. Sometimes you're up and then you're down, then you're up. So it's when you're down, just make sure that you know that things will improve. And when you're up, you also need to know that at some point you might not have that stage the whole time. And also, which is very important, just to enjoy life. Just enjoy it and having a full time all the time with friends and with whatever you're doing. Like I've as I said, and I talked to a friend of mine, my life is pretty simple in a way, but I have friends, I have people that I know, and I'm always thinking like, I would rather go and spend some time with people and have good memories than do other stuff on myself. So, just to keep in mind that it's about enjoying times in general.
Amazing. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a usted. Obrigado.
De nada. Thank you so much. And we keep in touch, Waly. It was a pleasure having you on the show, okay? Thank you.
We will definitely. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.